Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great day. Today I want to talk about a topic which is so important because there are millions of people living with these symptoms and they constantly treat these symptoms, they never get better. While you can treat the symptoms and get some relief from what you have, if we don't address the root cause of this problem, it could be damaging you within, leading to more and more serious problems, pains, aches, skin issues, autoimmune conditions, and everything. We're going to understand today what celiac is and how do you determine if you are celiac or not. Now, a lot of the symptoms that I talk about today could be also caused because of several other reasons, but it's very important for us to be mindful. As I'm going through the symptoms today, try to relate to it. Have I been going through this? Okay, try to correlate everything. And then if you do really feel that, there's a very simple blood test that you can do to determine if you're celiac. What is celiac? It's an autoimmune disorder. It means that your body cannot digest and break down gluten. Gluten is found in wheat, barley, in rye, in food products like this. It's a protein molecule. Okay, most bodies can break down this protein molecule, but if you are gluten intolerant or celiac, that means your body can't break down this protein molecule called gluten. It creates inflammation. It makes your own immune system behave erratically, attacking you, which is what is called an autoimmune condition. So now we're going to go through some of these symptoms. Listen very carefully, try to correlate. You don't have to get worried. You may have a lot of these symptoms, but it doesn't mean you're celiac. But it's good for us to relate and figure out, because remember, integrative and lifestyle medicine is all about addressing the root cause of your problem. There are too many people out there suffering, and then they have to go through endoscopies and colonoscopies and then finally find out that they were celiac. But what if we could correlate our symptoms, and before we do all of these invasive procedures, which are not bad, if it's needed, it's needed. But what if I can avoid that by doing a simple blood test? I realize I'm celiac, I cut out gluten, and all of my symptoms start to disappear. So let's go through this one by one, okay? It could be different for everyone. Sometimes because we have poor gut health, I could have grown up eating wheat and gluten all my life. But all of a sudden, gluten starts to bloat me up. It starts to cause body pains, low energy levels. Okay, it may just mean that I'm intolerant to gluten because number one, the quality of gluten has changed. Number two, maybe I developed poor gut health over the years, so I'm now sensitive to gluten. So it doesn't mean I'm celiac. Celiac means that you can never have gluten. Gluten intolerant means that right now, gluten doesn't suit you. But if I work on my digestive system, I may just be able to go back to eating gluten one day. But we want to know the difference so it becomes easier for us to handle the symptoms at a root cause level. Bloating. If you have constant bloating all the time, after a meal, during a meal, before a meal, in between the day, you wake up feeling bloated, that's a symptom to be on the watch for. But now bloating can also happen if you overeat. If you undereat, you keep long gaps between your meals. You have a very heavy meal at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, late night dinners. So like I said, correlate everything. But what if you're having these symptoms and you're doing everything right? Then you may want to think about checking if you're celiac. So bloating, diarrhea, constant loose motions. You have loose motions. You're not sick, but you have loose motions a couple of times in a day. Loose motions can also be a factor of IBS or maybe food poisoning. So you got to correlate. Now, people who are celiac can have diarrhea, but they can also have constipation, or they can also oscillate between constipation and between diarrhea. So you want to be aware of that. Sometimes if you're celiac, you will find blood in your stools. But also if you're constipated and you're pushing out your stool, you can also find blood in your stools, which is why correlation is very important. Gas. You have constant gas, and when you pass out this gas, flatulence, you start to feel better. So the buildup of gas, trapped gas, where you have to really remove some of your pant buttons to feel better, that gas can also be a sign of poor digestion and also maybe celiac. Brain fog. You constantly feel tired, fatigued, you're lethargic, you have the loss of mental clarity. Even though you slept well at night, that's called brain fog. Constant fatigue. Although you're sleeping well, you're eating well, you're exercising, you're constantly tired throughout the day. You have dull aches and pains all over your body. You've checked your vitamin D3 levels, they're fine. Everyone says, I don't know why this is happening. Maybe you're stressed out. It could be gluten related again. Iron deficiency. If you constantly have an iron deficiency, your doctor gives you an iron supplement, it goes up, comes back down again. Because if you're celiac destroys your gut. It creates inflammation in your gut, blocking absorption of iron. Now because you have low iron, you have hair fall problems, you have skin problems, you have energy problems, you have fatigue problems, you have lung problems. Now because you have damage in the gut through inflammation, not only does it block the absorption of iron, but it's blocking the absorption of other key nutrients and minerals. So your B12 levels will fall. No matter how many supplements you take, it goes up, comes back down again because you lack intrinsic factor. A lot of absorption of vitamins and minerals, all of it happens through the gut. So you can have micro deficiencies, which explains the fatigue, the hair fall, the acne, the change in skin, pigmentation in skin. You see, it's all interrelated. That's the beauty of the human body. One micro deficiency can create a problem. A multivitamin may not solve your problem, because if you have a malabsorption problem, you first got to fix the gut so that you can absorb the nutrition coming in from your food or from your supplement. Weight loss. Constant weight loss could mean you're celiac. For some people, you have a lot of weight to lose. You're exercising, dieting, but you're not losing that weight. Okay, that stubborn fat doesn't go from your body. Coupled with indigestion issues, you could be celiac. Depression, this is huge. Medical science is showing us how a lot of patients who have depression can also be celiac. You can be celiac, and because you have inflammation in your gut, it affects your brain. We all know the gut-brain axis. Problem up here, it affects your gut. Problem in the gut, it affects your brain, your emotions, anxiety, and everything else. We've had a lot of patients who have come to us with depression-like symptoms. Fix the gut, find out they're celiac, remove them off gluten, all the depression disappears completely. So while there's clinical depression that's completely different, there's also depression that can be caused because of poor gut health. Autoimmune conditions. I've done videos on autoimmune. Leaky gut plays a huge role in autoimmune conditions. So let's say you already have arthritis or lupus or Hashimoto's thyroid or some eczema or psoriasis or any of these conditions. If you are celiac and you are still eating gluten, this can aggravate your autoimmune conditions. We've had so many patients who have come to us with autoimmune conditions, and when we finally make them do the celiac test and they are celiac positive, we stop the gluten, symptoms disappear completely. Your immune system relaxes. Celiac is an autoimmune condition. It causes your own immune system to aggravate, flare up, and attack you. We spoke about leaky gut, food allergies. All of a sudden, if you start having food allergies to the foods that you grew up eating, or food sensitivity, it's because your gut's very weak, it's inflamed, it's sensitive, because you could be celiac. So that's the time you do a test to check. Being celiac and not knowing about it can lead to osteoporosis. It can cause damage to your bones. Today we have people in the age group of 35 to 40 getting osteoporosis. We need to understand that it is not just calcium and vitamin D3, it is acidity, it is gut issues, and it's things like being celiac as well. You have constant mouth sores. You always have mouth sores constantly. It could be a gut issue, could be celiac. Infertility plays a huge role as well. And we've seen so many patients going through infertility. All of a sudden, we find out they have gut issues. We make them do a celiac test, they're celiac. You cut them off gluten completely, guess what? Guess what? Infertility now becomes fertility. So there could be so many reasons, but I'm just giving you the little reasons to get yourself checked. And you have something called gluten neuropathy. Gluten neuropathy, sometimes people have these tingling sensations in their fingertips, their toes. They're not going through chemotherapy, they're not going through radiation. What's happening is they get these tingling sensations. It's called gluten neuropathy. Cut out gluten. If the tingling sensations disappear, you know that gluten's causing a problem. Today, gluten intolerance and celiac is found in children in a huge way, so always be mindful. Is your child constantly complaining about abdominal pain, gas, colic, blood in the stools? Their growth is stunted. They're not growing too well. They have weak bones. They have autoimmune conditions like eczema, psoriasis, mouth sores, irritability, anger issues. Again, related. If they have gut issues, you may want to take it a step further after correlating and get the test done. So what is the simple blood test that you can do? Any lab does it for you. It is non-invasive. It is just a normal blood test. It is called a TTG IgA. We'll put it down in the notes, or it's called a TTG IgG. I suggest that you get both of these tests done, a TTG IgA and a TTG IgG. Okay, there are other ways to determine this as well. Sometimes through a blood test called calprotectin. If your calprotectin comes positive, you know you have inflammation in your intestine. Now you want to take it a step further and maybe get the TTG tests done. And guess what? If you're celiac positive, your number one move is getting gluten out of your diet. And whatever symptoms you have, you will slowly start to see them fade away. Okay, sometimes if you've been celiac for a long time, but you never knew about it, and you went on eating gluten and coping with acidity and bloating with antacids and painkillers and digenes and all of that stuff, there could be considerable damage, which is reversible in most cases in the gut. So sometimes while you get off gluten, you also got to rebuild your gut. You got to rebuild your microbiome, and that's how it works. But the important thing is, am I celiac or am I not celiac? You would find that out with these simple 2 tests. So now don't get worried. A lot of us may have these symptoms. It doesn't mean you're celiac. Correlate. When I eat gluten, do I feel this way? When I don't eat gluten, do I feel better? If I have an autoimmune condition, do I have a flare-up when I have a gluten meal? Do I not? Correlate mindfully, then get the test done, and then take action. See, a lot of it is within our hands. By having the right data points, that's when you're addressing the root cause of the problem. It's very easy to treat symptoms with medication, nutrition, and all of these things. But the beauty in healthcare is if we can address the root cause of the problem. Because guess what? Your autoimmune conditions can get way better. We've had autistic children, by cutting out gluten from their diets, their behavior and their milestones are incredible. This is for a lot of them, and a lot of autistic patients can absolutely handle gluten. It doesn't affect them at all. But remember, uniqueness, biometrics, all of us are different. We can't assume anything when it comes to the human body because of uniqueness. Have a great day, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, breathe deep, and remember, you care is all about you.